In this video, we're going to create this neon hover button together with HTML and CSS. Before we get into it, make sure you are subscribed. I upload tutorials to help you improve your web development skills. So make sure you're subscribed and leave a like on the video if it helps you out. In the HTML document, we have this boilerplate for a standard HTML document, which will have the title of our document, a link to the CSS file. The CSS file already contains these three properties to reset the margin, the padding, and the box sizing. So in the body element, create a div section with the class name of wrapper. And this will contain our button. So we create a button element with the class name of button and an inner text of hover here. And this is what we have. This will be all for our markup. And in the CSS file, we'll add some styles to our button. So we first style the body. So we select the body and give it a background. And give the body a height of 100 VH. Set the display to flex. Justify content center. And align item center. This will centrally place our wrapper div. Next, we start the wrapper. So with the wrapper class name, first give it a border of 2 pixels solid and a white color to see it clearly. Now we set the width to 400 pixels and the height to 150 pixels. Now we start the button in the wrapper. So with the wrapper class name, any button class name, we make sure the width is 100%. So we'll cover the total width of our wrapper div and the height also to 100%. And this is what we have. Now remove this border, we don't need it. Make the background transparent. And we set the border of the button to 5 pixels solid and this color. Set the border radius to 80 pixels. And we remove any outline set by default. So set the outline to none. Next, we start the text inside. So we give the text a font size of 2.5 EM and a color of this neon color. I'm bolding the text. So font width 600. This is what we have. And we set the cursor to pointer so that when you hover over the button, there will be a human hand. And then we add a box shadow. 0 for the right, 0 for the button, and 20 pixels. And this color. Set the position of the button to relative. This will be the final base design of our button. So now with my button, when you hover over it, we increase the size. So set the transform to scale by 1.1. And change the text color to black. Then we add a background color. Change the background color to this color. Then you go back into the button declaration block and add a transition for a smooth transition. So for all the properties we set it to 0.2 seconds ease. And this is what we have. Now we add a before studio element to the button. So with my button, add a before studio element. and the content should be empty, and the position of our content should be absolute. And since we set the position of the button to relative, then our before pseudo element, whatever we style it to be, will be positioned relative to our button. So the top positioning, we set it to 0, the left also to 0. I set the width to 100% and the height to 100%. And give it a background of transparent. But let's first give the background of white so we see what it is. Set the border radius to 80 pixels. Here's what it is, but we set the background to transparent so we don't see it. Now, when you hover over the button, you want the before pseudo element to have a border. So my button, when you hover over it, what happens to the before pseudo element? So set the box shadow of 0 for the right, 0 for the button, and 40 pixels blurred, and this color. Then we go back to the before pseudo element declaration block and add a transition to the box shadow of 0.2 seconds ease. This is what we have. So yeah, that's how to create a neon hover button with HTML and CSS.